I wanted to bring this down to more of a conversation about the consumer and really looking to focus on mobile and how mobile has become important. So just before I kick into this, I'd like to kind of just level set everybody. We're looking at 5 billion mobile phones, right? If we actually put that in context, did you know that there are only 4 billion people who have access to a clean toilet? This is how important the mobile is becoming, right? If we actually go a little further, we actually even have terminology now for how important it is, how the mobile has become so important in our lives, right? We talk about nomophobia, right? About the fear of not having a mobile. Actually, my kids suffer of no Wi-Fi phobia, right? We walk into a restaurant before they've even ordered food or a Coke or whatnot, they've already got the password to the Wi-Fi, right? So they're actually 6 and 4, okay? These are not teenagers, right? This is becoming permeated within their lives, right? And actually, when we look at time spent from the consumer, we are already seeing that digital has surpassed TV, all right? And when we break down how that digital has become, what are the components of the digital piece, it's really broken down into, we've got desktops and laptops and mobile. This is 2010 to 2014, right? And then if we look at how it's evolved in 2014, there's been a 7x growth in mobile. And actually, if we're going to look at it moving forward, most of the growth in digital will come from mobile. So this is going to be a very important part of our marketing strategies and retail strategies moving forward. So we're actually talking about something we're starting to see is called like the Mo moment, like for our clients and agencies and whatnot, is that basically we're getting to a point where mobile queries will overrun desktop queries. And this may have happened to many of your businesses already, but we're starting to see this this has been happening from about June this year, and it'll be moving on into next year. So that's an important point. Suddenly, 50% of the queries are going to come from mobile, right? So when we look at the consumer, we've got a consumer who checks their phone 150 times a day, right? So if we put that into context, this has become the personal assistant. It has become so personal, so close. I mean, we do not leave our phones anywhere. I mean, I've left the house many times without my wallet, but the mobile is something which, you know, even if I gave it to peers and I walked away, I wouldn't be comfortable with that. It's a very intimate and personal relationship we have with our mobiles. So we have to think about how do we get to really, develop strategies that really speak to that. We cannot interrupt. We have to become part of the conversation. Okay? So I wanted to go a little bit into, just to kind of get an idea from the audience, how many people spend 1% of their budget on mobile? 5%? Very few. 50%? Right, okay, so that's interesting. So if we look at that, a lot of people here are, a lot of us are not investing in mobile, but the consumer is there. People are checking their phones 150 times a day, 160 minutes a day. How many, they're not watching that much TV, right? And we're not using this to our advantage. So what I want to deep dive into now is just 3 aspects that I feel are important to a really strong mobile strategy. One is user experience. The second one is relevant ads. And the third one is insightful measurement, okay? So let me go quickly into each of them. So guys, do you remember 2006, 2007? We were standing around, we were saying, guys, you need to take your retail experience, you need to take it online, all right? Everybody remember what it was like? We had to convince everybody, evangelize that digital was important. Okay, we did a great job about that. It did take us almost 10 years to do, but we did a good job about it. So what's happening now? What's happening now is that our consumer has now moved from online, has evolved to the mobile channel, and we need to make that jump as well, right? And for us, well, it can be an advantage or a disadvantage, but our consumer has also become a much more demanding consumer than when we were back in the day telling them to move to digital. And when they moved to digital, what happened was this kind of stuff. Like, this is when we moved to digital, the problem was the quality of the user experience. So this is just a quick example. I just moved to Mountain View. And I'm actually, I bought a house and we're like building up. So I went online. I really, I decided when I arrived in the US, I arrived 3 months ago, you know, alien and whatnot, getting my papers and whatnot, and I asked that I promised myself that I would use my mobile for everything, and I use it for everything, even buying power tools, right? But what happens? This is the Craftsman site. Now, I love Craftsman. I think they do some incredible tools. I think they have an incredible shopper experience offline and desktop. But what happens when I go to the mobile, I get a desktop experience on my mobile. You make me pinch and zoom. You make me, you make it complicated for me. You don't make it fluid on the mobile. I will leave. Interestingly enough, when I went on the site, I'm on my mobile. You know where I am, right? And you're sending me snowblowers. I live in Sunnyvale, all right? I don't have any use for a snowblower. And less a snowblower that'll take me forever to find out the information, because I don't know about you guys, this is a pretty big phone, and I can't even read this, right? So you need to make sure the user experience makes sense and that you adapt to it, right? The second piece, relevant ads, okay? We're starting to see that 75% of people who enter a retail shop use their mobile to basically buy and discover products. I mean, we always talk about how you get into a store, you're on your phone, you're looking at that screen at Best Buy, and someone comes over and says, "Can I help you?" And you're like, no, it's almost like you feel bad about having your phone out. But the truth of the matter is, everybody is using their phones. And actually, 50% of people who showroom will actually buy, okay? So even though they're using their phone, it cannot be the enemy. Sephora always says this, you have to engage with the mobile and use it as an extension of the retail experience offline, because it's a great way to bring people into the store, right? The third piece is measurement. It's all about measuring properly. One pitfall we're seeing, people are using traditional desktop measuring metrics to measure what we do on mobile. I don't know about you guys, but like taking $1 that I spend on mobile and giving $1 sold as the direct conversion, that's not value. Because what happens to, he downloaded my app, he looked for a store, he used the store locator to find a store, right? He was in the store looking for something, and he used my app, or he used my site. Those are all relevant micro outcomes that we should be measuring. So when you put those all into the spectrum of what you're measuring, you realize that the value of the mobile, and guys, come on, we're talking about something very personal, very one-on-one. This is true one-to-one marketing, right? How can we say that a mobile click is not worth more than a desktop click is really difficult to understand. But we need to get over that barrier. And really, at the end of the day, the consumers are shopping 24 hours, all right? There are, between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m., 30%, okay? Sorry, 25% of shoppers are shopping during that time, right? I include myself, and it's a lot of cross-device. I'll start looking for something on my mobile phone while I'm waiting for my kids at school, and then I'll complete that transaction at home, right, on my desktop. So just making sure we're really getting that whole conversion path across both devices is very important, that multi-screen kind of thing. Apart from that, we're also seeing that the 25%, right, the 1 in 4 of what people are looking for is really the important piece that we're trying to really gauge is we need to make sure that we're available at all times and across all devices. That's super important, right? I just want to show a quick video.
Taxi! Taxi!
That does that?
Just got a jellyfish warning.
Tri-County?
Let's go to Zuma.
Morning, kids!
Reply, be there in 2.
There it is. Okay, Google, what's the Syracuse score? Yay! Woo! what's interesting about this is that, I mean, we're all going to look like Dick Tracy speaking into our phones, right? Into our our watches. But what becomes tantamount here is that this relationship we have with our mobiles will become even more intimate. So we really need to think about those three things: the user experience, the relevant advertising, and the insightful measurement. And we need to make sure that we are being part of the conversation and not interrupting. Thank you very much.